Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Inamur Rahman Khan from Orthoflex Clinic, Mysore. Now, this is a video I'm making to share one of my experiences where once while I was giving a lecture on ethics, a student of mine asked me slightly off the track question that does our country have the right policies in place for healthcare, education and environment for the next 5 to 10 years to come? I answered her just from the top of my head and in an instant that yes, we do. But I thought about it for a minute, and then I told her that if you ask me beyond those 10 years, then we don't have. We have no single policy in order to get us beyond those 10 years. The reason is that conservative voices of left and right wings of political parties, they keep representing sciences with their radical agendas. But science is neither left or right wing of any political party. It is science, isn't it? Because when we get MRIs done, when we get X-rays, when we watch a live TV program, when we fly in an aircraft, when we take treatments with antibiotics and anti-inflammatories, when we talk over phone, when we use modern technology in agriculture, when we predict natural calamities, we do so because of science, isn't it? Now, as fellows of science, we assemble data, we analyze it and try and predict the future. Now, the same science tells us that nothing will destabilize an economy more than global warming. But our unhealthy obsession with economic growth is such that it is killing the world. It is like we are telling a morbidly obese person that he should eat more chocolates, and if he does so, then at some point he will explode, isn't it? Our government's obsession with power and money is also such that it is taking away the basic human rights of healthcare and education, and instead the government is giving us tasks to light candle and bang vessels to get rid of a pandemic. Where are the policies? Where are the proper operating procedures? Where are the laws and bylaws that should be implemented and followed? Even though the scientists have established and given to the government the fact that global warming is imminent unless stringent long-term policies are adopted. And on the contrary, I heard the head of our nation say that there is no climate change happening whatsoever. It's just that in the world, the capacity to tolerate cold is diminishing among the people who are getting old. This was his answer to climate change. I mean, really? I also heard him talk on World Biofuel Day when he said he saw a person fueling his cooking stove with a gas from the drainage gutter. And just by putting a pipe in the drainage, he was replacing LPG. Priorities of politicians continue to astonish me. A union minister tweets that he is watching Ramayana at home while thousands of people were walking on highway to reach their home during this pandemic outbreak and lakhs of people were going hungry. Citizens are doing their bit by offering a helping hand in this hour of need. We as medical professionals are doing our bit, but the elected servants of the public, instead of developing a policy and implementing a standard operating procedures, these people are marinating in their own mediocrity. Disgusting, isn't it? Anyway, I'm cognizant of the fact that it is a collective responsibility of the public as well. And I do not wish to grand slam the government on this, but the least government can do is to make a deliberate attempt to at least spread awareness among the masses about healthcare, education and environment. That's the least they can do. And actually one more ironic reason that we have all become so oblivious and careless to our own rights and responsibility is that the way the whole system and the chain of command works. For example, a doctor, an engineer, a scientist or a professor has the qualification that is supposedly the toughest one to have. It requires dedication, hard work and courage to get through a medical school or to get a doctorate. And by the way, when I'm talking about doctorate, I'm talking about doctorate that people get by doing actual scientific research, by spending so many years of their life in quest of scientific knowledge, and not the ones that are honorary that some universities give out as charity. No. Anyway, These exceptionally qualified people like doctors, scientists and professors work in a setup where their superiors are the people who are qualified with MBA or any other postgraduate business management degrees. Now these MBAs would work under people who would have a graduate or postgraduate degree in commerce or law, who handle the accounts and legal departments and legal matters. A person who has a graduate degree in arts and somehow was able to clear a public competitive exam with merit or through reservation will be a government employee who will inspect the working of this establishment where all these qualified people, highly qualified people are working, and he will give his opinion to his superior. Now it seems okay till here because all these people are doing their jobs they are qualified to do. But this point onwards, the tragedy of commons starts. Let me tell you what tragedy of commons means. It means that it is a situation in a shared resource system where individuals act to fulfill their own self-interest and behave contrary to the common good of all users by depleting or spoiling the shared resources through their selfish actions. Now coming to the point, who is this government officer's superior? Who does he report to? He would report to a secretary with a diploma in office management, to a person who is not even qualified to be an office boy. That is, maybe an MLA who has no degrees or diploma. Most of them don't. Now this MLA reports to a minister who has fake degrees decorated all over his office walls. Now obviously this person is good for nothing except for being the brand ambassador of tragedy of commons. So now the minister seeks the advice from fraudulent quacks and the so-called religious gurus who have no connection to science, commerce, law or environment whatsoever. Now these people together opine, decide and formulate what the doctors, engineers and the professors and the scientists should do. Isn't it scary? But anyway, having said that, I hope that bureaucracy and judiciary of this country works together to bring about and implement policies and procedures that would benefit many generations to come. But on a special note, I would like to convey to all the students, irrespective of your field of study, that if you set your bars low in your student life, then you may not be able to reach the heights that you are capable of. You will condemn yourself to the life of failure and mediocrity. So set the bar high, rise up to the standards and make India the greatest nation. Because we don't have any shortage of talent and intelligence in our country, and that's for sure. That's a short fact. Let's all remain human in our thinking and in our deeds. Let's all do something and contribute something in our own capacities to this great nation of ours, and then be proud of being Indians. Until then, we have got nothing to be proud of. So do something first and then be proud of being an Indian. Jai Hind. Thank you.